and guys that I think, and we don't know, but I think are going to play big roles. I mean, Landon's going to play a key role at center. Eddie was hurt most last year. He's going to be a key cog on defense. Jaden had a great spring. He could be one of our top wideouts. So, and they went through spring ball, and they've also been here at West Virginia for a while, so they understand that part. So I'm glad they're here. I think they've done well. You guys would know. I think they've done well.
Coach, yesterday, well, you and Scott Frost are both back at old jobs.
All right.
Yesterday, he had a great quote. He said, "It's not always easy to go back to something. It's not always easy to go home, but it was easy for him to go to UCF." Is that how you feel? Is it easy for you to come back?
Yeah, I mean, I knew there would be some feeling some sort of way, one way or another, right? And I think there were some probably some folks that thought, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be people are going to be really mad, whatever." And there was. At my opening presser, there was a Pitt fan that got let in the building, and he said some stuff, and they got him out of the building pretty quickly. But the response has been really good. I've been going around the state, and people have talked about the past a little bit, but more people have talked about what's next, which is really what I want to do. I don't mind. We're talking a little bit about Pat White's and Rasheed Marshall's, Noel Devines, and Owen Smith, because those guys, Pat McAfee's, those guys were great to coach, and they took our program to another level. But the reality is their eligibility's up, and so now we got to do it now. But I like our former players like Pat and Noel and all them being around or being involved in the program, because our players can see you can be really, really talented and still care more about the team than yourself. And that's a great message for me to send to our players.
Hey, Coach, you talked earlier about knowing the league, a lot of the teams in it for the Pac-12 and previous. TCU, though, comes to the league same time as West Virginia. It seems like there's been some pretty good rivalry there. What do you know about that? What have you learned about
it's like knowing the league. I really don't know the league. I know the schools that were there and kind of maybe the environment in the schools, but I haven't played them when I was in the Pac-12. But everything is so different now. Like we're a completely different team than we were 2 months ago, let alone 6 months ago. You know what I mean? So I think as we get into the season and we start watching the film and all that, we'll have a better feel for it. But it all starts with quarterback play. If you've got good quarterback play, you're going to have a chance to win. This league has great quarterback play, not good quarterback play, great quarterback play. Unfortunately, I wish it didn't. I wish everybody was had their backup quarterbacks starting this year or whatever it is. So it's going to be a unique challenge. But I think that's why the Big 12, if you look at the non-conference games this year, particularly early in the year, you'll see the strength of the league show up.
You mentioned earlier you wondered a little bit about the reaction. Was that based on how things kind of went a little sideways when you left the first time?
Oh yeah, there was hard feelings because I didn't have a press conference to explain why. I should have. I was told not to, but I should have had it. But you ever say it was in the past? It was in the past, and then I was on this journey almost like Forrest Gump. I was in the bayou, out in the desert, in the hills of Alabama, all over the place. And, I was out of the state of Jack State the rest of my career and been perfectly happy. Love it there. Great friends. We were winning and have success. But here it is, the opportunity to go back home and finish my career at the place that I played at, coached at a couple times, and all that is really neat. Like I said, I probably don't say it enough. I am very, very grateful for the opportunity, and I take it very seriously. So, if I don't win, everybody will yell. If I win, everybody say it works out great. So all I got to do? I got to do is win. Right?
Did you factor in the hard feelings when you were making the decision? Or?
No, hell, I think the administration for sure was one like how you're actually going to be, and I'm like, I said I think it'll be all right. We'll go around and do our little Mountaineer Athletic Club tours and talk to people and answer some questions and be up front with them, and they've been great. And that's why I said and I know there's been a couple times and somebody said something here and there and all that, and I understand that. Shoot, you might be better off if they didn't have hard feelings. Maybe they didn't miss you. You know what I mean? Like they didn't push you away or something like that. But it's so in the past, and I don't mind looking back on it if you can learn from something. Like I've learned a whole lot in a week, let alone in the last 17 years. And so they should be getting a better version of me and my staff, and hopefully they'll get a better version of our players from the last couple of years too.
Big season ticket sales, highest in 12 years.
Yeah, I hope we break a record. I don't know what it's over 30,000.
Right.
I would like for us to break a record because we're a business now. You know this, John. going forward, every coach here, every athletic director is going to tell you, we're now running a business, and you don't want to go bankrupt running your business. So we're in a good position because we're the only deal in the whole state. And so we run this like a business, make good business decisions, hire the right people, including hiring the right players, make the right decisions. And if you make a wrong one, correct it in a hurry kind of deal, and we'll be fine.
That atmosphere is kind of missed a little bit since you left. Try to revive that.
No, I've said this, and you've heard me say it a bunch of times. You can sit in the stands and maybe not understand X's and O's, but you could tell guys playing hard. And there were times, and I didn't do a lot of review of last year because last year was last year, but I've talked to our guys about a couple games I've watched, and I said, we did not play as hard as we could play. And there's never an excuse for that. I don't care if you're home on the road, ahead or behind, fourth quarter, first quarter, you're going to play as hard as you can on every snap, or you won't play. And we didn't do that at times, and that's got to change immediately.
Yeah, and a lot of the fans drive 2 hours to come to the game.
Or more. Yeah.
And if you don't give the effort, they got to think about that the whole way home.
And it is important. I tell our fans cry when we win, and they cry when they lose. It's emotional, but it's also personal for me. I mean, I was that way as a player, and I was that way when I was coached here. And if I mellowed a little bit, I don't know, these guys would probably tell you not. But I just like winning. Every decision I make does it help us win? It ain't got about nothing to do with anybody's feelings. No, what helps this, sir? And that probably maybe that's that singleness of purpose. Doesn't ring well with some people, but to me, that's like everywhere I've ever been. Does it help us win? Okay, that's what let's do.
You grew up, 40 miles, 30 miles?
45 minutes away in Granttown, West Virginia.
What was the first WVU game you went to as a kid? You remember?
First game I went to was when first day as a walk-on freshman.
So you didn't go when Danny Bugs played?
45 minutes away. I might have been 10 hours and 45 minutes away. I might have. In fact, my dad, I didn't play my first year, and then my second year I wound up playing the special teams and playing a little bit. And my dad figured out, hey, they tailgate pretty good. He could sneak a little flask in there with a little extra juice in there and sit in the stands and have a good old time. So, yeah, he came to the games after that, but it was, it seemed like a big deal to me, when I walked on there, right? It's still a big deal to me now as the head coach, but I guess I'm old enough now that I kind of don't look at it from that way. But it's like, all right, how do I win this play? I mean, that seems like coach speak. I really think, like right now, I'm worried about the first play against Robert Morris at 2:30 p.m. on whatever it is, August 30th.
Yeah. Do you see that sort of meaning for the in-state guys on the team? The same kind of.
I hope so. That's a good point. Is we have to, a large majority of our roster is from somewhere else. We have to make it feel like that's their home. That they grew up in Morgantown, West Virginia, or Granttown, West Virginia, or wherever the case may be, and it's got to be that important to them to do that. It's so hard to do that now with all the me society and paying them and all that, but you still can create that environment if you emphasize it, and if you make it more about the team than the individual. And that's the biggest challenge that we have now as coaches. But, if you're not willing to make that challenge, then don't sit in my seat.
Was that part of your thought process when you put your staff together? I want the best West Virginia staff I can get.
No, but good question. I did not hire those guys because they're West Virginia guys.
Right.
I hired them because I thought they were the best guys to help us win. And I told Pat that, I told Noel that, and I told Rashid when I gave him a raise. I said that you guys are here not because of what you did in the 2000s, even though that's going to help. It's because what you can do right now to help us win. And for our players to see those guys emphasize the team part of West Virginia more than their individualness is a big point. I think they're all great coaches and great additions to the staff, but our guys are seeing like, golly, I thought Pat and Noel will be this way, and they're all about West Virginia. They're not all about Pat. They're not all about Noel. And that's a great message to send.
Has it been a joy to be able to pitch your hometown West Virginia again to recruits?
Yeah, it's the only school in the country I can recruit to and say this is where I got my education. This is, everybody wants to talk about this school's education. Hell, I think ours is pretty good. My degree means something. You know what I mean? I had a great experience there.